La 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 la. The Human Torch was denied a bank loan.
So I'm coming at you today from my house, from my basement. After the last episode that I recorded in the Attic Studios in Grand Rapids, Kirk Ross's studio, which is home to his podcast, Talk in the Attic, as well as the podcast Passion to Profit, which is hosted by the guest, well, one half hosted by my next guest, Liz Delacroce, who hosts that podcast with Vince McIntosh, the Irie Don, who's also been on this podcast, and both of them have been on Kirk's podcast as well. So next week, Monday, you'll see Liz's interview coming out. But this week, I wasn't sure what to do. I knew I just had a couple notes. Like, I wanted to talk about possibly the purpose of this show in a more direct and meaningful way. But I don't know. That I didn't know where to go from there. So I called my friend Kirk, the guy who has that studio, like I said, Kirk Ross, a Talk in the Attic, which you'll hear the audio coming up on here and also on a Talk in the Attic. Because what we ended up doing was just talking to each other for ideas, and about an hour into it, we're like, well, why don't we just release this conversation as its own podcast? So that's basically what's happening here, is two friends who are both kind of in a creative lull, trying to, and there's Kirk texting me right now. Yeah, two friends in a creative lull trying to help each other out of it, and what resulted was a joyful conversation, and we thought we'd let you guys in on that. So whether you're normally a Creative Ops listener, or whether you're normally a Talk in the Attic listener and you're just tuning in over here, welcome back. I hope that you find this space to be a place of encouragement and inspiration, because I just wanted to inspire people and give people support that they might not have been getting elsewhere to go do something creative, you know? So that's kind of what I'm all about. That's what Kirk's all about too. So that's why I think the two things go together well. So enjoy our conversation, baby.
Makes them relatable.
Yeah. So
Well,
this isn't even an interview, man. This is my off week episode. So you can help me figure out what it's going to be about, man.
okay.
Obviously, I'm going to talk about Liz when I can figure out what her last name is. I sent her a message, and I was like, hey, we're having a debate about if it's Crows or Croce.
What, you implicated me?
Yes.
Oh, God. Well, who's right? What's right?
I mean, it's on record. You said it like that on your podcast.
Yeah, true.
To her face, and she didn't bat an eye.
And was I wrong?
I don't know. She hasn't gotten back to me yet.
She blocked you.
She has better things to do, like on a work day, than answer my questions about how to say her name.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe she doesn't care.
Yeah, she probably doesn't.
She's as long as you can type it, as long as you can search
as
your
the
name
links,
in Google.
As long as the links hit up where they're supposed to go, and people are genuinely interested in what we're saying.
So what's on your mind? What's been going on? I saw you posted something yesterday on Instagram that suggested that you're kind of in your own head lately and all that. So you should do something about that.
Yeah, well, I think the thing for me, and that's part of the reason why I started doing the solo shows, was too much downtime in between podcasts for me isn't a good thing, but also trying to schedule like an interview every 5 days isn't a good thing.
Right.
So I'm trying to find that creative medium, and I haven't latched onto the good idea that you have of like having a theme and a script and some production value and effort behind it.
Well, I mean, that's more for the listeners. That's primarily for the listener, I feel like.
Yeah. And my downloads for those solo shows are lower, but it's more people than I would have expected it to be. And I don't have all the analytics to know like how many people listened to the first 2 minutes ago.
Yeah,
nope, then tap out. But
yeah, a download's a click is a click. That's how you got to assume they're all full listens, even though none of them are. But yeah, I mean, yeah. That's very much.
I don't think anybody listens to my sign-offs at the end of the episodes, but I still put them in.
That's where you put the real Easter eggs there, and then only the real tight, really close friends, real fans will be like, "Hey, that was hilarious at the end."
Well, you know what? I think I might start doing that more often. I only did that one time, but yeah, I'm gonna have to incorporate more of those. See who's really listening, and then maybe build a community around that.
Yeah, and even if you're listening to this part of this right now, whether you hear this or not is still to be determined. But if you hear this part and you think, wow, you know what, I'll just start scanning to the end of Chris's shows. That's also fine because then you can start selling that ad space.
Yeah, that's right.
then people are actually fast forwarding just to hear an ad, which then they'll say, well, maybe we should listen to the whole thing. Or you might just be playing with their emotions too much, and then you lose what little fan base we have.
That's also assuming that somebody is going to want to pay good money for that like middle of the show ad space. And I don't know how I feel about that either. Because let's say, Me Undies comes up to you and is like, Kirk, here's some free underwear, and we want, a minute in the middle of your show. Are you like, I don't know, the middle of my show, that's kind of like where I like to have my show be?
Do you want me
would you be like, okay?
I mean, I have an actual answer for this. First off, I love that you're drinking from what appears to be a food preparation cup. Oh, Starbucks. Okay, never mind. That's still
it's
cool.
An old Starbucks like cold coffee, but it works for just cold water too.
Hey, there's a lesson here, folks. You don't have to throw away your plastic. Once you buy it, it's your problem. Do something with it.
That's okay. Right.
So I have an answer to this, Chris, because I don't want ads at all anywhere in the show, really. And so especially, I did an episode called Your Ad Here. It was like in brackets. And so like people really tuned in, I think, thinking that I was going to be selling ads, and it was a bunch of fake commercials. But the rest of it was kind of me explaining why I really don't want to participate in the ads, because I think it's all over the place. I think we can't go on Instagram without seeing it. I mean, I'm advertising my own show to people on Instagram, which already makes me feel kind of grimy. And who am I to tell people to go listen to my show where I talk to my fellow trophy husband, Christopher Talon, and in there I'd then try and sell him to go download fucking Best Fiends or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah. Which it's like I really didn't want to participate in it. Of course, I'm also trying to make some money and do this for a living, so you have to monetize it somehow. So I'm not saying that from a place of judgment, but I did a little bit in that episode about our favorite true crime podcast, which is called Case File True Crime. Mm-hmm. And it's out of Australia, and it's only fact-based. He doesn't put any opinion in it whatsoever. It's very like stoic. You can tell he's not trying to exploit the situation. He's even deferent to the assailant as well,
And the accent's probably soothing, coming from like that ASMR standpoint.
It is, and I think he actually processes his vocals a little bit too, and like kind of flattens it and makes it even more like normalized, so there's no up and down. Which, if anyone that's ever listens to a Talk in the Attic would know, that's not a good one to fall asleep to, because I'm like, and but this guy isn't like that. But there was a period of time where he would break into his show and do a Best Fiends. It's the #1 downloaded game, and it was like, I can't go anywhere without hearing about Best Fiends. I don't want to play this shit. Okay, I get it. It's best friends without the R. I know. Joe Rogan told me. Bill Burr told me. Everyone and their brother was doing it, right? And, I think there's an element of that really breaks the concentration. Now, on a show like you and I did, Chris, or on one like you do with Liz coming up, mm-hmm. There's some, you need a break in there. So whether you play an interlude of yourself playing music or whatever you do there, that's not a bad spot to put in an ad at mid-roll, because I think people want a break too. Very, very few people are really going to be able to sit down and listen for an hour to us, even if they wanted to. So
I'm just trying to imagine scenarios in my head where I'm like strapping people down and like, you're going to listen to this.
I know.
Like some old like prison torture, instead of loud music, just playing my podcast on a loop for 24 hours.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's one way to look at it. What about if you rise to power and you become like an authoritarian dictator, and it becomes mandatory listening for everyone to like listen to all of your inner thoughts that you put on the Creative Ops podcast?
3 times a day, everyone has to go and sit down on the curb and listen to 20 minutes of live stream podcast.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard not to feel like a narcissist when you're putting on a podcast, isn't it? Like I really I don't think I am, but God damn it, I'm looking at myself right now in this video chat, and I'm like, who is that guy?
Like, yeah, I think I think podcasting is like the new vlogging, where it's one of those things where maybe by the time you're done doing it, you look back and you're like, I hate myself for that.
Wow. Well, right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. No, I think podcasting is, I think podcasting's cool. It's just a weird thing to have, like, you know, you could be talking about something that was super current. If it's a show that lasts a long time, going back and listening to it, it's like going back and like watching old news almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
So
for that reason, I kind of keep
like,
it untopical.
Everything else in media is like here right now, and you know, you can find it in an archive. But podcasting, it's like, oh, let's listen to one from 2016, see what it sounded like back then. It's just such a weird pick your own adventure, try to get to know somebody adventure thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you and I talked about this when you were in the studio the first time, Chris. It's like, should I call you Christopher?
No. That's
okay.
Just for appearances.
Okay. So listen, C. I'm just going to keep shortening it until you tell me it's no longer available or until it's no longer appropriate. So C, I was just thinking when the first time you were up in the attic, I think we might have been talking about this, about whether or not to go back and kind of remaster or even redo older episodes because, you know, your audio engineering prowess and your attention to detail and all that weren't there yet because you were learning. We all have that. Yeah. And you know, for me at least, I've wrestled with that an awful lot. I'm pretty much at peace now. Like I haven't gone back and remastered them. I own all the original raw recordings, but part of that is it's a two-way street. One part of it is people that are into the show now. I want them to be able to go back and hear the progression and the progress because that's one of the themes of the show is that you're not ready, go do it. You know.
Yeah.
But then there's also the risk of, okay, I hooked somebody on one episode, they really liked it, they heard it randomly because a friend was on or because they got a link sent to them, and then they say, well, I'll go back and listen to the first episode, and that one doesn't sound that great. Does that turn them off, right? So that's what I was wrestling with. I ultimately decided to leave them as is. But
yeah, it's unfortunate that some of the ones that I have with the most downloads were by far the worst audio, but like the guest was a cool guest and they were captivating to listen to, and you know, it was just a good flow to it. So hopefully people that stuck around and listened for most of it, you know, or at least got something out of it and weren't just like, oh, I can't listen to this. But I've put up, I think, 2 shows where my producer mentor that I had talked about, Jason, was like, dude, I wouldn't even put that out if I was you.
Is that a hard advice? You're not fucking releasing that on my label, okay? That's what I'm trying to say.
No, I mean, he was like, you do what you want, but he was like, but that sounds bad, I wouldn't release it. And I was like, well, I'm gonna put it out there. If people don't like it, fine. You know, I'll maybe just drop something in the intro, say, you know, this was recorded in a professional growing facility. There were 1 million fans and humidifiers and dehumidifiers and people walking around. So like,
part of the experience.
I apologize for that, but yeah, close your eyes and pretend you're there with us, you know.
Grab a bunch of bud and rub it all over your nostrils for free.
yeah. Put sticky stuff on your fingers and, well, no, that could be, never mind. That could be misinterpreted a million ways from Sunday. But
hey, what you do in your private home, in your private space while listening to Christopher's podcast is up to you.
While you're listening to my silky tones.
Welcome back to Delilah. We have Bill on the line. His penis is caught in a jelly jar. Bill, go ahead. What's going on?
I was really hungry at first, but I couldn't get it open, so I just ate the bread, and then I wasn't as hungry, and I just, you know, something about the color. It was the orange kind, you know. I don't know. It just did it for me.
Ooh, Lady
Marmalade.
Marmalade.
Still not open, and I'm stuck in it.
Wow. You put your erection directly through the jar, through the glass.
I tried to use it to pry it open, and now I'm just kind of stuck here.
Some people can look back and wonder, you know, where did my podcast take a turn for the worse, and always wonder why. But you'll know. It was a moment.
This moment right here.
It was a moment we went too far with the joke that ended with you sticking your apparently needle-sized penis in between the small space between the jelly jar and the glass or the rim, whatever.
Not necessarily needle-sized, but just, you know, very angular.
Angular, yeah. Well, now some people can look back and wonder where they save their podcasts.
Yeah.
But it's where you divulge that you have an angular penis. That's good.
One of the last episodes I did was with a comedian, and I was like, she said that part of where she gets her jokes from is just living in a world of yes. And so recently I've been trying to do more of that. And normally when I laughed and put my head down, I would have just been like, I'm done. But I was like, no, go with it. See what happens, for better or for worse. And, if it hadn't been for just going with it, I wouldn't have been on a boat on 4th of July, which I put a story out. I was on a boat.
Dude, I wonder how far I was from you. Where were you?
I think we were actually in the Grand Traverse Bay.
Oh, okay. Nice. So where are the circumstances that led up to that?
I asked a buddy of mine who lives up there, who was on the show, the guy from Fresh Coast, had the loud facility. I was like, hey, man, you going to be around this weekend? He's like, yeah, I'm not doing anything. I was like, all right. So I just showed up at his house, and he was like, oh, hey, I'm actually about to go on a boat with my buddy. You want to go? I was like, yeah. So we went on a boat, partied a little afterwards, had some Taco Bell really late at night.
Hold on. You're saying that you went with yes because he asked you after you showed up unsolicited at his house and asked you? You're saying that that's why you went with that yes, and that's how it happened?
Well, even before that, I guess, going back years and years, no, my wife was like, hey, go up there and see him. I was like, I don't know. I didn't really make plans. She was like, well, just go up there. If you can't hang out, then go for a hike or bring your golf clubs with you. I was like, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get a hold of him for a couple hours. Went up to Old Mission, found a natural area, went for a hike. It was awesome. It was really hot though, so I got back in the car, changed my shirt, and then he called me like right as I got back to the car and was like, "Hey man, I'm actually helping a buddy put a boat in the water. If you want to come hang out with us." I was like,
hell yeah.
I don't know. I might not get home tonight if I went out on a boat now, but that sounds like fun. So yeah, let's do it.
That sounds great.
And my wife was like, yeah, it's fine. We had already watched the fireworks the night before somewhere else. Yeah. So like our kids weren't going to make another late night of it. Like for all intents and purposes, we had already celebrated the 4th on the 3rd,
Right.
So yeah. For people that are like, wait a minute, don't you have a wife and a bunch of kids? Like, yeah, but we already did our family thing.
Yeah, and by the way, even if you had abandoned his family on Uncle Sam's birthday, it's none of your goddamn business.
Okay?
Yeah,
so you just veteran, go back to
okay? Yeah, he can do what he wants. He fought for this. He had real, actual combat, something that I can't even think about without getting sweaty in my nether regions.
Well, technically, I was just really close to it. I didn't get a combat action ribbon, which is odd because this is a whole other thing too. Talk about semantics and bureaucracy. I know we didn't talk about that, but I am now. The people who did the exact same job that I did when I was over there 4 months before me, I think 4 or 6 months before me, they all got combat action ribbons, but then they changed the qualification for what getting one of those is. So I did the same job as people who got it, and I didn't get it. And the only reason it really bothers me is because those are worth a lot of points towards advancing.
Oh, I was going to say, money. Yeah, I was about to ask, like, not in a disrespectful way. I was just curious, like, does that change anything? So it's like a pension issue, probably, right?
Well, I mean, you have to get up to, you start at E1 usually, unless you did ROTC or something like that. Start at E1, and then you have to get up to E6 by the time you're in your 14th year, or they'll just put you out, and you don't get the full retirement and all the retirement benefits and all that. So you got to make it to 20 years to get the full thing. So it's kind of a race to try to get to that one rank,
right?
Before 14 years. Most people want to do it comfortably before 14 years,
But were you in that long?
Second?
Were you in?
No, 14? I signed up for one enlistment. So I tell people I did 5 years, and they always look at me kind of odd, like 5. It was a 4-year enlistment with an extra year for a signing bonus. So nice. I did one enlistment, is what I usually say, but it was 5 years, which is not the typical 4 or even numbered enlistment.
Well, okay. Are you willing to talk about the GI Bill and what you're looking at doing? Maybe that would be a good topic to talk about.
Ooh, yeah. Personal development. Because one of the things that Liz and I talked about was Enneagrams. And you've done an Enneagram, right?
Yeah.
You guys talked about it before in your show.
Yeah. I did it back. I did it back a few years ago, where someone I was talking with happened to be into it. And
yeah.
I think
what is your strength? Like it said, I know my weakness is stress, and my strength is growth.
I don't even know. I don't have it internalized. I know that I'm a 3-wing 2 or a 2-wing 3, depending on when I take it. When I've taken it.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it to know either. I can't remember what my type is called. I just know I'm 5, and that my weakness is stress, and my strength is growth. I think so. So going to school sounds exciting. And if Enneagrams mean anything, then that should be like lighting me up in my brain.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Enneagram, like, again, I'm not a devout follower or anything, and I feel like a lot of people that are into it are really into it, which is the case with anything, you know. But
when she was talking about it, she can be like, "Oh, this type is this type is that." That's cool, man. Like I don't have that.
And I think
there's my type committed to memory,
and there's a place for that, I suppose. But I also see people really limiting other folks because of that, kind of labeling them and then using that as almost a justification or reason as to why it's okay. And I think, like, hey, the Enneagram
any personal philosophy works for that, though.
Well, the Enneagram at the end of the day should be for you personally. You know, what did you learn about yourself and how do you apply it? Because again, it's all data driven, it's all real, but
well, any kind of spiritually driven thing is the same way too. People should be using it for personal growth, or to get themselves into heaven or wherever. But a lot of them take their signs and go stand outside of abortion clinics. You know what I mean? It's like I don't think that's really what they were talking about. But if that's what makes you feel like you're getting into heaven, then I guess I can't really hate you for it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're probably gonna want to cut this out, but it's kind of vulgar. But I think I'll tell you anyway. I don't even know if any of this is making it into the thing, but
I'll make a note.
I saw a meme that said, your religion is a lot like your penis. It's cool to have one. Hell, you can even be proud of it, but don't go shoving it down my kids' throats. Right?
Oh man, that must have been aimed at the Catholics specifically.
But I think the point stands. It's like part of all these organized religions is like the evangelization.
Don't put it into anybody else's personal bubble without invitation first.
That's what it really means. Yeah, but at the same time, like evangelizing and spreading the gospel is part of every organized religion because it's a business too. So how do you separate the two? I don't know. If I truly felt saved by, like I personally like have. I'm not atheist, but I don't have like faith in Christianity or anything like that. No disrespect, I just personally don't.
Yeah.
But if I were to find that, like how I know people find Jesus and find the Savior, and they really feel like it saved them, I probably would want to go tell everyone about it. It would be some crazy kind of experience. So
like first time you fall in love with somebody, especially now in the internet age, like people will be like, "Oh, this is me and my girlfriend," and like 50 pictures of them on Instagram, and then a month later, they're all deleted.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You better be really into Jesus before you start posting pictures about him on Instagram, is what Chris is trying to say.
Well, man, I would say take that in advice for anything, because I put out, this was something I was thinking about talking about too, is I put out a Twitter tweet. I was going to say Twitter post, a tweet. That's how much I use Twitter.
One of those Twitter posts. I think my mom said that.
Oh, hold on. I'm touching it. How does it work? It says it's locked. But yeah, no, I put out a tweet that I was like, immediately after I put it out, I was like, ugh, that was a stupid tweet. And all it said was like, fuck the Olympics, because I was mad about Sha'Carri Richardson not being able to go to the Olympics. And then I come to find out too that it wasn't even the Olympic committee that was like, oh, she can't participate. That was like a Team USA decision, which seems even more ridiculous.
Yeah, fuck the USA is what you meant.
So it's just one of those things. It's like, okay, does that need to be said? No, that can be a thought. That doesn't need to be a tweet. So maybe just everything in general, like let it be a thought and really think on it. And if that thought just doesn't really evolve in your head and doesn't seem attractive after like an hour, it doesn't need to go on social media. It doesn't need to go on Twitter.
I like that. I mean, I like not to say that I always obey that, but I do like it. And I think that's one of the disciplines.
First thought doesn't need to be your tweet.
Exactly.
It should be thought out.
Dude, that's one of the reasons like I like writing out my Tuesday shows too, is sometimes I'll include a hot take in there, and by the time I write it, recite it a couple times, and actually perform it, by then very few times has something like completely idiotic made it through.
Yeah.
It's almost like a little bit of a filtration process. But then again, Twitter and things like that, part of the appeal of it to both people reading it and to people putting it out is that it is unfiltered and all of that.
Yeah.
But
you can get somebody's hot take on something, how they felt in the moment, but like, yeah, anybody can use that against you. Someday, like one of my kids is going to be in the Olympics and they're like, oh, hey, wait, no, he said, fuck the Olympics. Like, I don't know how it could possibly come back to me, but like just the fact that somebody could be like, oh, you remember that one day you wanted to like spout off and be an asshole? Like, okay.
Yeah. Your daughter now no longer has that opportunity. So I hope you're happy.
Yeah. Now my kids can't be in the Olympics. Sorry, guys.
I hope the one like by Talk in the Attic podcast, which seems to be a now canceled podcast from yesteryear. I hope it was worth it for that one fan interaction you had there.
One time.
I mean, I don't even get engagement anymore on Facebook. Like, I know my listens haven't really changed much, but like when I don't get engagement on Facebook, it's like, why am I fucking doing this even? I don't know.
I think you have to be like committed to like being active to a platform at least 3 to 5 times a day, every day for like a month before you'll get any kind of like real interaction. I get more interaction from Instagram than anything, and that's just the one I like to be on the most. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's because you're putting in more time there. Yeah, and then I have noticed too, like participating more when I'm not just promoting my show, even if it's commenting on other people's posts and things like that, always helps too. Essentially, it's a guilt tactic. I think if you like someone else's thing, especially, or if you comment on someone else's thing, especially if they're creative, who know the struggle, then they're more likely to do it to you. So it becomes kind of a self-flatulating back scratching, but I'm supportive of creative ops because I think you're hilarious. I like what you're doing, and I appreciate your journey. And so if that means I gotta engage with your Instagram, that's part of it. And then the other thing is when people are reading yours, I feel like you and I are going to draw at least some overlap of the same audience, right? And so maybe people would passively see me commenting on your stuff or commenting on a Mitch Hedberg account, or you know what I'm saying? Whatever.
Yeah. So well. One thing I was thinking about on this episode too is possibly putting out a mission statement of some sort, because I mean, I guess that's what you already do when you say this show is a show for blah 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 blah, but I guess this is more free form, more long form, more stream of consciousness. The whole point of the show is, when I was contemplating career switching, there was a lot of people being like, no. And then I found a few people that were like, yeah. And then I started meeting more people that were like, yeah. And I was like, I just through the podcast, even more and more people that you meet that are like, yeah, do it, dude. Like they look at you right in the face and they're like, yeah, that's not a stupid idea at all, dude. Do it. You know what I mean? When so many other people just look at you like, oh, like I want this to be a place where people can be like, oh, this is where I go to get that. Like, yeah, do it.
100%. There's a lot of look. You're almost 40. Are you 40?
I turned 38 this year.
38. So you and I are the same age. I'll be 37 this year. So look, we're in our mid 30s, almost 40, and we spend a lot.
Our podcasts are like our midlife crises, right?
I mean, it's better than buying a fucking Mazda Miata or something, but at the same time, it's like we've spent a lot of our time probably stowing our creative sensibilities or creative interest inside ourselves, so much so that you joined the fucking military, man. That's like the opposite of creative. No offense to the military, but like it's all about discipline and structure. It's you're following rules there, right?
It made me popular when we were places where there was no like cable or radio. When I had a guitar, people were like, hey, it's the guy, let's all sing a song, you just play that thing on a loop, man. I was like, all right. Yeah,
because it's devoid of, I mean, by necessity, that place is devoid of creativity. So we spent a lot of that time. I was an engineer working with the Japanese OEMs, another place where from an ingenuity on a design level might be interesting, but it's pretty structured. It's as rule based as you can get in engineering. And here we are now.
Creativity is probably limited by like, well, this is kind of the look that we like to go for.
You're being told all the things. The creativity becomes, okay, how do we make all this stuff work in unison? Not, hey, what do we want to make the output? The output's determined. It's more like how you get there. So now you and I are both in the second phase of our lives, or probably more like 19th phase. Depends how you're counting. And we know what it feels like now to really be able to pursue our creative passions without so much concern about what other people think. Look, you have an awesome wife, you have awesome kids. She let you go away on 4th of July without, she encouraged it. she's seeing a change in you and wants to see you be more creative too. And now we want to spread the word in a way. We kind of want to evangelize people, if you will, about, hey, fucking do it. Even if you suck at playing the cello and you haven't done it since college or you haven't done it since you were 9, do it. It doesn't have to be played. It doesn't have to be for anything. It doesn't have to be a tweet. It can be a thought. It doesn't have to be a podcast. It can be you messing around with your cello in your attic. And I guarantee you'll find benefit from that. And I think my mission is similar to yours, which is that, like, let's show people that you can do it, and it doesn't have to be anything. It doesn't have to have expectations.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a career switch. It can be starting a blog or whatever.
Anything. Yeah, right. And you see a lot of people.
YouTube channel where you review books that you read.
Yeah, I mean, I want a guy that I'm trying to kind of connect with through a friend. He's a Holland-based guy, and he's pretty funny. He's comical. I'm not going to say his name here. Well, take this part out. Okay. I'm not even going to say his name here, but you can still probably take this part out. But this dude, like, now he's been posting YouTube videos of himself reacting to other stuff. And in terms of creative value, I find fucking zero creative value there. Okay? It's different if you're, like, giving some interesting take, but if it's you, the whole point of it is watching you giggle and make stupid comments to yourself about something that also isn't that great. Yeah. Get the fuck out of here. Like, that's crowding the markeplace. Add something. Add something of value. You know, like, even if you're gonna be reviewing, there's value in critique and review, but you better be offering something to it to improve the perspective. I don't know. You know, you can do what you want, but
no, I saw some of those videos that are actually great. Like,
me too.
There was a guy in Hawaii who's like a music professor, and he listens to, like, Tool songs or, you know, some top 40, and he'll be like, this is why this song is actually better than you think. And
again, he's adding a perspective to it. You know, but imagine if it was just that guy, except he isn't the professor of Hawaii music in Hawaii or whatever, and like,
this part sucks.
No, it's less than that, dude. Christopher, it's like this. It's fucking hilarious.
Oh, I've watched a lot of kids watch the videos where it's just like old people watching music that they like and just going, I don't understand what they're saying.
Again, that sounds kind of funny too.
That is kind of funny. Like, old people are always kind of cute. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. There's an old guy that I follow on, I guess it's YouTube, who only started, like, replaying he's obviously a good musician, but only recently started kind of doing it and, like, performing live, or at least putting it out there for the internet. And oh my God, he has this Death Cab for Cutie cover that he did. It was like the first one I saw, but it's just it's amazing. He's super talented, but he's also just a sweet guy. He's got, like, cats in the background, and, like, the kind of guy you want to go and just have an orange juice with or something.
Yeah. And you know what? That guy probably was like a dentist his whole life and never even told people he did stuff like that until he was like, I got nothing to lose. I'm old.
Yeah, right. And maybe that's fine too.
He's probably happier than he's ever been.
Of course. Yeah. He's definitely getting more, like, nude pictures sent to him by fans.
What a cute little guy. Here, he'll like these.
Oh shit. I kind of want to just release this conversation on my show if you're not going to use it.
You know what? We can put them on both of ours and just say, like...
Oh, are you going to put their conversation on, or are you going to do a show after? Because I could ask you some leading questions to get into the meat of your show. You know what I mean? So if it's going to be in this format, then it would feel like this format. But whatever you want to do.
I don't know. I might cut it up and just sprinkle some stuff in. I don't know.
Yeah, you could always do that too. Like, interject, like, your own thoughts into a part of our conversation or something. That's kind of fun, right? That's the beauty of, like, a podcast where you're the sole person. Like, how great does it feel? You don't have to do it the same fucking way every time. It's cool.
Yeah, it's fun, but I don't have as much fun with it as you do. So
yeah, sorry.
That's the I got to start thinking about audio, or not audio. That's the whole point. I got to start thinking about video though. I could just use these, but I don't know.
That's what I do with remote ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of mine have been remote lately. Just because, well, a lot of people have been far away, but also some people, less now, but in the last couple months, we're still kind of like, I don't really know about going over somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's value in both ways of interviewing. Yeah. I think there's pluses and minuses of both.
It's a lot better this way if the other person has really good audio equipment, though, or at least audio equipment that's not just like their computer.
I bought like a $70. I think it's down in Jessica's office, but a $70 office mic that's like by Shure, so the same as this.
Yeah.
I think it's called the MV7 or something. And I've been sending that now to people. I've used it twice, so I'll send it to them, and then I'll just include a prepaid label back, and they ship it back to me. Of course, you run the risk of someone stealing it, but come on. It's unlikely. It's unlikely. It's more likely that someone just would forget or something, forget to send it back.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people doing this too. Like on their
Oh, dude. The first 1 or 2 remotes that I did, my producer was so mad at me because I had such a terrible setup. It was an old mic that from like 10 years ago that was meant for like singing into on a stage. You have to get like right on top of it. And before I had that, I used like a headphone one from an earbud, and I just like used a paper clip, those like big thick paper clip ones.
Yeah, binder clip. Yeah,
a binder clip to make sure that it was facing up towards my mouth.
Did it work?
Barely, but he was like, dude, this is like embarrassing to watch. You need to get a microphone.
That's hilarious.
Then I used my old microphone. He was like, yeah, that microphone's not cutting it. And then eventually, I got the arm and the thing and all that. Now I kind of look like I know what I'm doing.
Your setup sounds good. I mean, that's a thing. I'm getting ready to have this conversation with some of the people that are using my facility. It's kind of like it doesn't cost that much to get started, and not everyone's ready to have the commitment that comes with like coming to a recording studio and buying my time. You know, and also, do I want to put my time into something that isn't ready yet? And that's not in a disrespectful way. It's just like I have limited bandwidth, right?
Yeah.
And I need to be very choosy with my time because this is not the primary deal for my wife and I, right? So, but
not everybody can do like a Joe Rogan style show where it's like, we'll just hang out for like 4 hours.
Yeah, they can, but if there's nothing being said, it's like I don't necessarily want to be part of that.
Right. We'll just trim this down to like the tight hour and a half.
Yeah, trim it down. Which
that's not going to be fun. That's going to take like 12 hours to trim 4 hours.
Exactly. It's you either got to come in tight and hot, which is disgusting. I know that's a sexual thing to say, but you got to come in with some good positions, have it be tight or scripted or outlined at least, or you have to come in and be a really good conversationalist and ready to roll. And you better be able to talk about everything. Next thing you know, now your scrotum's in there as well.
Yeah,
and everyone's wondering
how did that even happen?
Yeah, well, angular.
It's like twisted like a garlic knot.
Oh my god! Grand Rapids Pizza Department used to have these like, what the fuck are those things called?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I can't think of it either.
GR Crusties, yeah, like GR Crusties or something.
Yeah. Shout out to the locals.
Sometimes when I don't have confidence, I'll put this on.
Bro, that is sick.
It gives you confidence almost immediately. Confident that people are going to probably assume that you're somehow appropriating, but it has nothing to do with that.
I was going to say, right now you look like Post Malone. I can't stop thinking you look just like Post Malone. And all you did was put that big chain on.
Have you heard that song, Feeling Whitney?
I don't know if I have or not.
You should definitely check that out. It's a Posey song. It's from when he was like 17. He wrote it, I think. It's good.
Oh, dang. I know that was one that he hasn't recorded in the studio, but I love listening to the live version is the when he does Return of the Mac.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
Yeah, he did it on Seth Rogen's Hilarity for Charity. But yeah, you can find it just like the isolated on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll type that in.
Yeah.
I know maybe last year during quarantine, he did like a full Nirvana scent sponsored by Bud Light or something.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, he's super into that. I told you about how my mom, you saw the paintings, how my mom is like obsessed with Post Malone.
No, hold on a second.
Okay.
Your mom is obsessed with
do you remember when you were here and there were Elton John and then a Post Malone?
I saw the Elton John.
Yeah. And then maybe
we talked about the Elton John. I didn't see the Post Malone at all.
I'll send you some pictures of it, but it's by a local artist who I asked, I guess, commissioned, but God, it's hard to not feel like an asshole saying that. I commissioned a local artist. I asked her through Instagram, and she agreed. So I contracted, but she ended up doing 2 Elton John.
I think you want to say contracted, not contracted.
I contracted a terrible illness called a
so
love
I
for Post
contracted
Malone.
something from a local artist.
Right when I said it that way, I was like, "Oh God."
Hopefully, he won't stop on that.
Yeah, she. I was gonna give her name, but I don't want to. Now I don't even want to bring her into this mess. So anyway, I commissioned. I'm just gonna say it would have been easier if I just said it. I commissioned her to paint a Post Malone painting, an Elton John painting, and then a hybrid of the two of them. And that was like, and the reason for that is my mom's got a long-standing love affair with the music of Elton John. Like, she's seen him in concert many times. I've seen him once with her, I think maybe twice, but she's seen him a dozen times. It's her person, right? Until Post Malone came along, and for some reason, I can explain why, but I don't really know exactly why it resonates with her. But the way she explains it is that he's very authentic and he's just himself and all that, which is cool that she sees that, you know. And I do agree with her on that, but put it this way, I don't think there's a lot of Elton John turned Post Malone fans out there in terms of like holding that top spot of music lower. And so I delivered those to my mom last week, and she thought they were so fucking awesome. She was like in love with them. She's already got them hanging in her like music room, and it's funny.
She should hang out with my parents sometime, because my dad listens to like, bye. Yeah, because she listens to, my dad listens to, well, like I said, he used to listen to Jim Croce on his vinyls, that kind of music.
Sale.
That that kind of like feel good with the beat type of music from the 70s. But then he got really into 90s West Coast rap. So
I love it.
Yeah. So he was always like, can't fuck with this, just walking around the house.
Hey, do you know a song by Mungo Jerry? In the summertime, when the weather is fine, you gotta try to pay and touch. I mean, I want to say it came to chance, but I made a summertime playlist, and I personally added that song. It's a good song. I remember it being a good song. And then just today on the way, before I got on to record with you, I listened to that song in the car, and it came on the playlist, and it's fucking hilarious. There was one. I mean, first off, the whole basis of it is, if her dad, he says, if a daddy's rich, take her out for a meal. If a daddy's poor, just do what you feel. Okay, so again, it's already kind of setting up like, okay, you're gonna just take advantage of the poor girl.
I've never listened that closely.
And then there's another line in it where he says, have a drink, have a drive, go out and see what you can find. It's like just advocating for drinking and driving. It's quite a song. But it does have that feel good like that.
That song is a menace. I guess, yeah, if you put it to the right music, you can say whatever you want.
That's the thing.
People be like, oh yeah, that's in my Raindrops Falling on My Head playlist.
Yeah, exactly. Really, I mean, you might want to read it. This might be Mungo Jerry is actually problematic. Okay, now I want to stop right there, because Mungo Jerry is not problematic. Just like
not calling for canceling Mungo Jerry.
Let's not cancel Mungo Jerry. He's one of the few Mungos left. Okay.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either. I'm not sure what it is. That could possibly
is that
could
his
be
first name, or is that possibly?
I don't know, but we should probably identify what that word means before we.
He's like that.
It,
that might have meant something different then than it means now.
Someone's be like, oh, yeah. You still waiting on the book patiently?
Still waiting patiently. I mean, not super patiently. I think that's part of the reason why I've been stressed out. Is because I like trying to move things forward, even if they're not moving forward, knowing that I'm trying to move them forward.
Yeah.
But when you're in a point where it's like, just sit and wait, man. Like, there's nothing I can do to make it happen faster. That's like frustrating for me.
I hear you. You just got to keep doing the work, I guess. Keep writing and keep making creative shit. That's all you can do.
Yep. And slowly chipping away at this other book that I'm writing. I just finished another notebook in that. And then, if I get this one published, then they'll want to edit it. So I'll have to stop that. Come back to this other one. I don't know. It's not like oh, my life sucks, this is terrible news. No, it's just anytime you do anything, even if it's something you love doing, it's like, oh, I got to do that part now. Okay. So I shouldn't complain. I should be looking at it like, oh, good, I'm doing the thing I love. Even the parts of it that I don't like that much are better than the time when I was a kid and I worked at Little Caesars.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like,
yeah,
and yeah, you have to, all the work you're doing now, if you can land this publishing deal, not if, when you land this publishing deal, like the next deal will be, you'll have a team to help you a little more. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have to be it doesn't like you have to be the next Danielle Steele to get a little bit of support. Then you don't have to do the shit that you hate.
I won't have to spend as much time trying to prove myself unless the book does really poorly.
Yeah, but don't you think the whole point is that if the publishers take a chance, it's because they don't think it's going to do poorly. So they would all be wrong.
Yeah.
You guys would all be in it together.
And they'll hedge their bets. You know, it's not a huge publisher that's got it right now, so it wouldn't be a ton of money anyway, but they'll say like, okay, you know, we can give you $20. Think we'll make our money back on that, and then we'll get royalties or, you know, whatever.
Right.
So
yeah.
I'm not gonna buy a new house with whatever deal might come, but
yeah, but man, you're gonna feel like you're on top of the world though, when you get someone else to agree to help you with your book. That's gotta feel awesome.
That'll feel like the first real step towards maybe someday getting to a point where I do buy a house with a book that I sell. You know,
right?
I don't mean to sound materialistic, but because that's not the goal either, is to like become wildly successful. It's just to be able to say like, I don't need any other source of income other than what I can create on my own.
It's self-reliance, and it's from nothing.
Yeah.
It's from it's from like here and here. That's why writing's so cool.
It's not about a certain number of dollars or a certain neighborhood that I want to try to live in someday. It's just the being able to be like, I do what I want and I get paid for it.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, that's gonna happen. Again, I think the only difference between the people that can say that is their situation and those who can't say that are the ones that give up, right? I mean,
yeah, really. And yeah, a lot of people. One of the guys that I interviewed, well, two guys from the same band that I interviewed are playing at the Upheaval Festival, July 17th in downtown Grand Rapids. Heartsick. They've been a band for like 20 years.
Can we get them in the attic to do a live set?
Probably. It would be loud.
Good. They'd have to strip it down a little bit, but yeah.
They scream. They play loud. But yeah, probably. But they've been getting more heat lately, and people have been calling them an up-and-coming band. That's cool. Like they've been playing for 2 decades, but they're an up-and-coming band in the eyes of like people that are, you know, looking at these sites or listening to these stations or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. That's like when I first started listening to Modest Mouse, it was after like they had become a little bit more famous and they were like doing pretty well.
Me too. They were like, oh, I've been listening to them ever since Moon Over Antarctica. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, right. It's like that's roughly when I kind of got into them, but I instantly got into like Lonesome Crowded West and all their older stuff. And of course, I prefer that stuff. But then you find out, well, they were living in their cars during that era, you know. And that's the
Well,
you don't really wish that. You don't really want that. You don't want Isaac Brock to be a junkie anymore.
Isaac Brock, there you go.
But you appreciate.
I used to live in my car, and now I don't, and it's because I sold one of my songs to a Chevy commercial or whatever it was. He's like, so if you want to say that I sold out and you don't want to support me anymore, that's fine because I'm doing better now without your support.
Right. I mean, and by the way, like I saw some people bitching about Red Hot Chili Peppers. Some people are bitching about Modest Mouse's new album. And
I'm sure I quoted that, terribly misquoted that. I can't even talk.
Yeah, but that's the gist of it. That's the gist of it. But when people complain about like bands selling out and stuff like that, that's another example. Like, would you shut up? Like, you know how hard it is to get anyone to listen to your song, let alone people willing to spend money and like big money to use it because they deal with it. People, it's not yours. It's their art.
They use looping and MIDI tools now. It's like, well, I mean, do you want them to make the same garage album for 30 years in a row?
That's what we were just talking about this past weekend. I met a guy who's in a metal band, and we were talking about, what if Bach or Beethoven could like just zap into the present times? And somebody asked me like, well, what do you think they would think about what's going on? And I would say they would probably be mad at us for not fucking taking better advantage of all the technology we have. They would probably say something like, wait, you're still just the biggest thing that you guys think is still selling out is using an electronic keyboard to manipulate sounds. You should be doing all sorts of crazy shit. You know, like you're not. Why are you trying to mimic something that they started doing in the 1700s in terms of musical composition? You know, it's like,
yeah, if Mozart was alive now, he'd probably be Marc Rebier.
He would do something that would be too traditional. It'd be too formulaic, probably for him.
Yeah.
Think about how outside the box those dudes must have been thinking when they were like creating. Mozart was deaf, right?
Beethoven went deaf. Mozart was the one who liked poop jokes.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, he would be like.
They've got like letters that he wrote to his female cousin, and they were all like butt and poop jokes. Yeah. Very, very sophomoric sensibilities.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. We already
made some of the best music ever.
Everyone's like, "Oh, Mozart, fucking genius, man!" And then you go back and meet him. He's like,
"Yeah." He was like vividly describing his farts to her.
Then now the third movement, bowel movement.
Yeah, yeah, I could totally imagine that guy like farting and then waving it over at like the first chair violin.
And then there's like infighting, like, I don't want to be first chair. I don't want to be first chair. Why? Because he keeps farting on us.
Stinky Mozart.
Elton John can like play Benny. The one time I saw him, maybe twice. I think.
Oh, and they like cross his hands over, and
he can like get underneath the fucking piano and like.
Yeah.
And that movie Amadeus about Mozart is like there's a part where Mozart's doing that, and I'm pretty sure that's Elton John doing that.
Oh, like it might be if they needed somebody to actually do it like properly.
No, they did, and I'm pretty sure that was him. Like they cast him as that like extra on that role,
and he already dresses like that sometimes.
Yeah, he's like, well, I don't know if I can make it. What kind of role is it? I'm in my 18th century.
Get my poof attire.
How is it okay if I have a beehive powdered wig? Perfect. Have you seen Rocket Man?
No. I kind of tapped out on a lot of those music biopics after I saw I think the Johnny Cash one and then the Ray Charles one, and then after that I was just kind of like, eh.
Okay, well, two things. Dewey Cox. Have you seen Dewey Cox?
I saw that one.
That's great because it really makes fun of the genre.
Kind of ruined the whole thing for me.
Yeah,
you don't want none of this shit.
It's the best drug there is. But you should watch.
It's not even habit forming.
You should watch Rocket Man though, because Rocket Man is like a musical kind of. It's different. It's a different kind of vibe. It's cool.
Oh, it's got a little bit more Elton flair to it.
Like there are parts where the characters just breaking the song. It's fantastic. It's cool, and it doesn't feel cheesy.
It sounds fabulous.
Okay, well, I guess hopefully I inspired you to talk about something or something.
Yeah, or I might just use big chunks of this. I might just release this. You want to just release this?
I'd be cool with that. You don't have to take shit out, honestly.
All right, you want to release it too? I don't care.
Well, what do you think? I don't want to steal it from you. Do you think?
I mean, it'll work either way. People are either going to listen to you or they're going to listen to me, and then they'll hear both of it, and then they'll listen to both of us.
That's kind of what I feel like too. But if you're cool with that, that's what I would say too. Because then I don't have to fuck with an episode tomorrow either.
Yeah, we'll just call it a crossover show.
Trophy Husbands, a crossover show. It's like that time that RoboCop showed up at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Was like, no, I couldn't think of two shows. I don't know why I froze.
Yeah, I immediately started thinking about Star Wars Christmas, the original Star Wars Christmas. Did you ever see that?
No, I feel like it's something Seth MacFarlane has made fun of, but
you can find it on YouTube now, and it's awful, absolutely awful. It's like Chewbacca has to get home in time for Christmas. And there's all the little Chewbacca children, and they're like, there's gonna be no wreath festival this year.
It was actually like bought off or like funded by Lucas.
All of the actors are in it. It's awful.
What was it on? Like on TV?
I think it was on made for TV. They aired it once, and then George Lucas like bought all the rights, made sure nobody could ever watch it, and then YouTube happened.
The rumor has it Lucas still pays $200,000 a year in scrubbing the internet every day of it.
He very, very well might. But yeah, I saw it, and it is awful, awful, awful. It's like ALF quality production, but with all of your favorite stars from Star Wars, and then Ewok children, not Ewok. What's Chewbacca?
Wookiee. Wookids.
I had to think of the song. Chewbacca, what a Wookiee.
I don't even know that song.
Oh, it was from Clerks, I think.
I should know.
Oh, Chewie.
Did you ever even get to the part about that you're going back to school?
Oh, well, yeah. Let's wrap it up here soon, and that'll be my last contribution. Yeah, so the school that I went to and got a bachelor's degree in literature, English literature specifically, I found out recently that I still have time left on my Montgomery, what is it called? The post 9/11 Montgomery GI Bill, which is something that they specifically gave to people who enlisted within a certain amount of time after, the 9/11 attacks.
Yeah.
And that one was a little bit beefier and helped you out more, I guess as incentive for joining. But yeah, so they'll pay close to an entire mortgage payment monthly as long as I'm in school full time, and I'm already doing this from home anyway. So,
right,
if I can make the schedule work and get my mortgage paid, I'll have to do a little extra writing that I wasn't going to do and wasn't planning on doing, but I'll just look at it like work, like I'm getting paid for it. And
yeah, you can always, it always helps to be forced into more writing anyway, to practice, and especially if they're teaching in different formats and different theories and stuff like that.
Oh, hold on just 1 second. Hold on a second. Okay, go ahead. For some reason, it got really laggy.
Oh, you good? No, I said it's always good
to
kind of have like forced. Anytime you can be forced into the discipline of doing more or creating more, it's always helpful because you'll be learning probably new formats and different theories or whatever.
Yeah, they'll have like a script writing class and a fiction writing class, which I don't know how focused it is, but yeah, anything that'll help me with what I already do now. Yeah, especially if it's free and or they're going to pay me to do it.
Hell yeah.
Why not?
Well, good luck. When's that? Are you like signed up for that? Is that happening?
Yeah, if I do, for sure. I haven't signed up for the classes yet or anything, or signed up for the admission process, but I would be starting this fall if and I probably will. So yeah, this fall.
Make that a yes. All right. Good job, Chris. You're doing it. Cool. My name is Kirk Ross.
I'll be right near you, so we can hang out more. We
can play tennis over there.
We can play some tennis.
They have a nice tennis court. That's like one of the whitest things you can ask someone to do, but it is kind of a fun, low impact sport.
Yeah.
That you can really, Mitch Hedberg has a joke where he says, tennis is a difficult sport because no matter how hard you try, you'll never be as good as a wall. While I'm getting these Mitch Hedberg jokes out, there was one more that came to me earlier when you were talking about having to edit. Once your book gets picked up, you're gonna have to edit it. And Hedberg has a joke where he said, "I turned in a screenplay, and the company said the editor said they liked it, but he thinks I need to rewrite it." And I said, "Fuck that! Let's just make a copy." Oh, Mitch.
Just make it. Yeah.
All right, Mitch.
Oh, God, I don't know how maybe once you get in the zone of writing those jokes, then they just start coming to you. But man, the fact that he could write so many of those, and they all killed.
They all had. He's such a unique joke writer, and a unique brand. But he kind of does have somewhat of a formula. I don't think you thought of it this way, but like I can kind of write Mitch Hedberg jokes sometimes. Like if I see something, and the way I think you do it is like you look at the outcome of it, like whatever the end product of the subject is, and you back out of that as if you don't know anything about any of the parts.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I think so. Maybe not. Wait a minute. Say that again.
So he takes the subject, like the subject could be.
Oh, hold on a second. It's getting all laggy and stupid again.
Fuck it. We could save this. We don't need to give a dissertation on Mitch Hedberg jokes. I can work on making this a better storyline, or better narrative anyway.
There. Maybe that'll help. Sorry, I was having some mild technical issues. Yeah, no, I know that you're doing now.
I appreciate that. You seem like a yes from earlier. You said you're a yes guy. That's good. I like that about you. Like I'm often looking for quick hitting things. Like I need it now. Like I asked you to make a thing for me, and you scrounged together a camera from the late 1800s, and then. But even still, it like happened. I appreciate that. Yeah. A lot of people are like, well, I don't know, I gotta do this, and it's like, shut up. Are you in or not? Come on.
Yeah. Do it. It's fun.
It's fun.
And worst case scenario, you just wasted a little bit of time and we didn't do anything with it, you know?
Worst case scenario, you accidentally offend the Olympic Committee, and then 8 years later, your daughter is banned from the Olympics, and her dream of Olympic steeplechase glory goes out the window. That's really the worst.
On my deathbed, my great grandkids. Damn you, Grandpappy. And your stupid podcast.
It's odd to me that your great grandkids seem also quite elderly at this point and have a southern draw as well. So it seems like the family migrates south maybe after the book deal. Who knows?
Yeah, after the Great Lakes all flooded and rose, and Michigan's no longer a state. There's just a tiny little patch of Iron Mountain. It's now Iron Island.
Ted Nugent owns it. He's the only one who lives there.
Ted Nugent lives there, and he shoots anybody who steps foot on it.
A bunch of mounted human heads on his wall.
Stay the fuck off my island.
I've actually heard quite the opposite about Michigan, though, like how it's becoming a climate haven. I just saw an article the other day about some meteorologist making the point that like Michigan's climate is becoming more and more desirable as like places like Florida are becoming, hellacious hellscapes. I know that's redundant.
I know people are saying like water and high tide like comes up to the streets in parts of Miami now.
Right.
That's a little disconcerting. And that one condo collapsed. I wonder if that had anything to do with like the foundation just like eroding into the sea.
I mean, that's a crazy story. My goodness. Yeah. I mean, I think fresh water in and of itself is quite a special thing we have here in Michigan.
Yeah. I remember the first time I was in the ocean when I was in Florida as a kid, and I got water in my mouth and I was like, what the hell is this?
Your eyes and shit. I know.
Yeah.
People are like, "Oh, I love the ocean." I'm like, "What? Why? Wait a minute.
Like,
I can understand why."
I have seaweed on my shoulder. I can't even open my mouth right now.
And there's fucking predators all around me.
Yeah, and there's sharks 20 feet away from me, probably all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so you can love the ocean, but you just can't love the ocean when you're sitting at Lake Michigan. Don't try and put Lake Michigan into a contest with some big salty body of water that it doesn't want anything to do with. Okay. Like I brought you here to Lake Michigan to show you this beautiful wonder, this gem of this Michigan coastline. Let's not compare it to Florida. Mm-hmm. I get lit about that. I get fired up about this sometimes, Chris.
I actually had the joy of introducing some Texans to Lake Michigan once, and they were just like, "Wow, I can't believe it. This water is just like amazing compared to ocean water."
Wow.
Don't get the waves that you would get in the ocean, but they weren't there for the waves, so.
There is
somebody from California would be like, "Yeah, this is cool, but this is also lame."
True, but I have heard like in autumn or in winter or something, we get some kind of different wave types here that like does bring pretty expert surfers from all over the place. Like a specific type of surfing, I don't know what it is. Like it's obviously not the big barrel.
Maybe it's the guys that surf the wake of the freighter ships.
There's a whole band of people.
There's a whole group of like old guys in Wisconsin from an old surf video I watched. They're like, "Yeah, we go out and we surf the we surf the wake, and then we come in and we have brats and beer." Like, of course you guys do. It's like a bunch of 50-year-old Wisconsin guys in full wetsuits, big guts.
There's only two things I like more than a wake. It's a sausage and a good spicy mustard,
Oh man, maybe some cheese curds.
Yeah, of course. The first time I had never seen Culver's, I was in college and they were building a Culver's near my college, Saginaw Valley. And for a long time before like even the name was up, there was just a sign that said butter burger custard or butter burger frozen custard, all one run-on sentence. Right. So in our head, we were like trying to figure out like that's all one thing. And so I guess we were relieved when we found out that they were separate items, both of which are delicious. That place is unhealthy as fuck, though.
You know what? I've still never eaten at one. I've driven by one a million times. My parents are like, "Oh, don't you just love their ice cream?" I'm like, "I've never had it. Never even been inside one."
I mean,
I'm not trying to avoid it. I've never been with a group of people who are like, "Hey, let's go to Culver's."
Yeah, but it's like earlier in my earlier life, I would have pushed you to go. You got to try Culver's. You got to try it. Because I enjoyed it before, and I think you probably would too. But as I'm getting older, it could be this very moment in time I'm making the switch. I'm going to tell you, don't go there. It's greasy as shit. It's tasty, but you can eat a bunch of garbage anywhere. Like, you don't need to go there. You can be one of the few guys in the room that's not been to Culver's, and you should wear that like a goddamn badge of honor, Christopher.
Yeah, kind of like I wear this brick of an iPhone as a badge of honor. The thing is,
Well, I
like,
think
people,
that's different,
everybody
but-
has an iPhone. Well, not everybody, but everybody, for conversationally, everybody has an iPhone. I didn't get one at all until the iPhone 5. That was the first one I got, and that was already like the 7 was out, I think. Maybe the 8 was just coming out, and I got the 5. Now I still have the 5. I've met no one else who has a 5. So at this point, I feel kind of punk rock, and I don't want to give it up. But like, I tried to get on one of my old guests' Instagram live stories, and like the sound just dropped out for no reason. I was like, shit.
I'm surprised planned obsolescence hasn't like completely taken you out of the game yet. Like, I have to believe soon enough the apps are just going to start being like, we're not supporting the 5 anymore.
Well, my producer sent me an app. He was like, hey, man, I got 3 things for this new app that's still in development that, they want some people to try. So I sent one to my friend and one for me, and I sent one to you. I was like, oh, it doesn't work on my iOS. He's like, God damn it, I can't get that back.
One third of our feedback out the window because of this.
Yeah, I'm sure if he had said something, but like he was probably like, I don't even want to admit that I have a friend that has an iPhone 5.
He's like, you know what? I'm just going to mark this down as satisfied. You're satisfied with the app for the investor.
Yeah, we'll just call that a good. We'll give you a happy face.
Well, Chris, this has been fun. It's unexpected. It's all I needed something to jar me loose. I kind of haven't been feeling super creative the last couple of days. So,
yeah, man, me too. Maybe it's been the air quality. The air quality has been terrible lately.
Dude, I've been waking up like all swollen and sneezy, and my eyes hurt. And that could be
things that most people would attribute to like being a cannabis enthusiast. It's just like 5 times worse than normal anyway. That's why I keep drinking this water, man. My mouth is just sticking together.
Lip smacking.
Oh, it's the worst. And that's actually something that my friend Jason also, he calls me king of mouth noise because
I'm gonna do some ASMR.
Yeah.
Hi guys. I want to remind everyone real quick that Creative Ops comes out every week. Talk in the Attic, it comes out once or twice a week, depending on. There's a point in every baseball broadcaster's career where they just give up on like turning off the mic when they're eating hot dogs. I don't know how. Like the Jim Price from the Tigers broadcast, I think they finally got rid of him. He might not. He might still be involved. But you'd just be like,
well, the Tigers are down 11 runs in the 7th. Another. What's going on for bat? Oh, here you go. Oh shit! I spilt my drink. Rob,
yeah, exactly.
Rob, I need to tell. He's rounding second.
I wish he was that enthusiastic. He'd instead he's 90. He'd get like sidetracked by the onion size or something. Well, guys, this was kind of you're fly on the wall during a conversation between 2 guys trying to make some creative shit happen.
All right, man. Well, take care of yourself, and I'll see you later, man. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Make sure you check out A Talk in the Attic with Kirk Ross anywhere you get podcasts. And he puts all of his episodes on YouTube and does fun stuff with them visually, too. So check out A Talk in the Attic on YouTube as well. And look for more Trophy Husband collaboration. Here's Kirk to send you out.
Dance, clown.